Welcome to Books in the Freezer, a podcast dedicated to the deliciously disturbing world of horror fiction. I'm your host, Stephanie, and today I am joined by Tiffany Gonzalez. You may know her as at Tiffany con Libros on Instagram, and we are here to give some recommendations for Latine Heritage Month. So, welcome to the show, Tiffany.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm stoked to be here, especially for this very specific episode.
Oh yeah, I am so excited about this. I have been meaning to make this episode for years. um and I'm glad we talked about it when we met up in New York a few weeks ago. So I'm very excited to get this out because there are so many books to talk about. And every time I dug into it, I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's so many books still have yet to read."
Yeah.
And
I
I
feel
think
like,
we're all feeling that way.
oh, absolutely. I feel like when we were in The Twisted Spine, we just kept like seeing different ones and we're like, oh, this is on my list, or you have to read this. This is so damn good. Like,
Yeah, I bought books on your
you
recommendation.
did.
So,
One that we shall buddy read soon.
yes, we will. All right. So for people that don't know, what is Latine Heritage Month, Hispanic Heritage Month? I know it goes by, depending on what word you're choosing from, you are talking about different people.
hmm So what I would say is that it is a time to really recognize like Hispanic, Latino, Latinx, Latina, like Americans who have just like made an impact in like the United States, and so that comes down to what we're talking about is like specifically books, but it can also be film. It can be like any art form, just like specifically recognizing those folks that have made a contribution.
Yeah, and I would like to note for the listeners that do not have a visual that Tiffany is wearing her Anything for Selena's shirt.
Always big Selena fan here. Just like, come on.
It's from mid-September
Mhm.
to mid-October, and the reason it's spread out that way, like a horoscope way, like Libra season, um, is because it encompasses more countries' Independence Day. 'Cause, like,
Mhm.
Mexican
Yeah.
Independence Day is mid-September,
Yeah.
and there are, like, other countries that have, like, early October, and that was
Mhm.
just a way to include more.
Yeah. I love that we get our own month.
I know.
But of course, read all year long.
Absolutely. And also, like, when you say Hispanic, that means Spanish speaking, so that does include, like, Spain and,
Yes.
Spanish speaking countries in Latin America. And then if you say that, then that doesn't include Brazil because they speak Portuguese there. But
Portuguese.
if you say Latina, that is Latin America, and that does not include Spain. So
Yeah.
if you see people being like, "Don't put Spaniards on your Latina Heritage Month," and you're like, "Why?" That's why. It's just those words have meanings.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yeah.
that's the
There's this like incredible Smarter in Seconds video, and I'm blanking on the name of who created it, but we can like link it somewhere. But it explains like the difference and the
Mhm.
countries that are involved in the difference, and it is just like the perfect explanation.
Yeah, I would need something like that because
Yeah,
you know, we could all be learning a little bit more.
exactly.
All right. Well, we have so many books to talk about. Do you just want to dive right into it?
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Okay. I wanted to start off with Mariana Enriquez, who I love. She's an Argentinian writer. Her last short story collection I absolutely adored. It was called A Sunny Place for Shady People. And did you read that one?
I did an incredible collection.
It was an incredible collection, and I really loved that all these stories were about women facing, like, the horrors or, like, supernatural, surreal elements in some way. I know I on a podcast, I was like, "And all of these stories are set in Argentina," and then I immediately said, "And there's a story where someone is in LA and they're talking about Elisa Lam." So, sorry, not it was one of those things I was editing that, and I'm like, "Okay, so obviously they're not all set in Argentina, past Stephanie." Um but I highly recommend that collection. I love it. I also loved her debut collection, The Things We Lost in the Fire.
Yes.
I heard someone describe it as very Shirley Jackson-esque, and I thought that was a very apt way to describe that
Yeah, that's a
collection.
really good comparison.
Mhm. So that's my first pick, kind of the double header of A
Yes.
Sunny Place for Shady People and The Things We Lost in the Fire.
Love. Everybody read them both,
Yeah.
please. The first one that I have here down is one that I came across just randomly in a bookstore before I even like worked in a bookstore. And it's called What Happened to Ruthie Ramirez by Claire Jimenez. And Claire Jimenez is a Puerto Rican writer. And she was like born and raised in Brooklyn and Staten Island. Well, she grew up in Brooklyn and Staten Island. Um, and that really resonated with me as someone who is like a Brooklyn native, but also someone who is a Boricua who's Puerto Rican. As I began to read this book, I just felt so seen because I feel like growing up, I didn't really come across books that had like Puerto Rican slang or just like references, like, and I just felt so seen in this book. It's really emotional. Yeah, it's these the Ramirez woman, and so you have these sisters and you have this mom, and one of the sisters goes missing, and the rest of the sisters are on this like quest to find out what happened, because she was at a bus stop and then the next second she wasn't, and you see like generational trauma, and just like things that a lot of us were raised like not to speak about.
Yeah.
It like explores all these like familiar bonds between like women and just like cycles of like generational violence, colonialism, you know, and just like
Yeah.
a lot of the silence that I feel like is really like enforced amongst like a lot of people in our like culture, like not to talk about things, to brush it under the rug.
Yeah, like, it's
So
almost your duty, like, that's
yeah,
what you
yeah,
gotta do.
yeah. It's like we don't talk about that thing,
We don't talk about
right?
burnout, you know?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So yeah, I felt this really tackled so many things that we are all familiar with. Um, and I love a story about just like generational women, um,
Mhm.
and how things are passed down, whether we want them to or not. Like, do we think we have control over that? Um, and so, yeah, that is the first one that I really, really loved. And also, there were like silly things mentioned, like Caso Cerrado that my mom like always watches. And so when I like saw the reference of like her mother watching it, I was just like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Like, "You get me."
Yeah, and they're like Frankie Ruiz references, and I'm just like, that's something that my mom and my abuela always listen to. So I was just like, this is incredible. Like as devastating as this story was, there were also moments of like, you know, comedic relief and stuff like that, which
Yeah.
also feels familiar in just like our like culture.
Okay, my next pick is The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. Like, listen, no one is out here doing, like, historical, romantic, Latina horror
Mhm.
like Isabel Cañas. The Hacienda just absolutely blew me away. It's this historical horror romance, like I said. It's got this haunted house thing going on. There's also this hot priest character
Love.
that's introduced. We have a lot of yearning. We have a lot of like
Mm.
burning with desire for each other.
Ooh, you're moving this up on my DVR.
And then there's, like, a fun little twist that
Mhm.
you do not see coming, but it's also set in a very specific time in Mexican history, and she does that with all of her books, and it's one of those things where, like, I, as, like, a Mexican American, like, there are eras and histories that, like, I don't know about, so I feel like I learned something new that I should have known every
Yeah.
time I read her books, but I'm also getting this, like, really cool story on top of it too.
I love when there is some like history sprinkled in that you otherwise would have never known. I think it's so smart when people do that.
Yeah. And so that is The Hacienda by Isabel Cañas. I still have to read The Possession of Alba Diaz, but it is on my list. It's like on my nightstand.
Yes,
I
it's
will do
staring at
it.
you, as
Yeah.
most of our books are, right?
Yeah.
My next one is Candelaria by Melissa Lozada Oliva. Um, and it is just insane in the best way. It also follows a generational woman. So it follows three generations of Guatemalan women, as they navigate a zombie apocalypse in Boston after this like cataclysmic earthquake. And it's just insanity. Even the cover, I wish y'all could see it, but I'm showing stuff right now.
Oh, I love that. Oh my
Um,
god.
which it has like all the women on it, and there's like a plate and these giant forks that almost resemble pitchforks because of their size, and they're all just like, I wouldn't say fighting, but thrusting them up in the air.
Yeah.
um But yeah, so that was, it was insane. It takes you on this path through cannibalism. There's a yoga loving cult. I know that
Okay.
sounds bonkers, but you have to trust me and just like experience this one for yourself. It is definitely unlike anything I've ever read. Each sister you can relate to in some capacity. And a lot of the time I thought of my own grandmother, which again, I'm feeling this theme as the ones that I've brought on, I'm just like seeing my family in them, and it's why I love them so much. But um, this grandmother just like does anything that she has to do for her family, even in this like really extreme situation. And so yeah, it is insane. And you have like rotating point of views, and the timeline as we get closer to like the end of the world, which is really fun.
Oh, that is so fun.
Yeah.
I feel like I remember seeing that cover, and now that is going immediately on my TBR.
Melissa is so damn talented. She has, and I'm just gonna sprinkle this one in also, but she has this other one called Dreaming of You, and it is Selena.
I was like, "Is it
Yes,
Selena?"
it is. It is. And it's insane. It's so fun. Um, so just 10 out of 10 recommend. If Melissa isn't on your radar, then she should be. Because she just came out with a short story collection as well. Beyond all reasonable doubt, Jesus is alive.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Did I ever tell you about the time I watched Selena for the first time?
No.
I was visiting my cousins. I was probably like 8 years old, and I was staying with my cousins in Tucson.
Uh-huh.
Um, and we watched the Jennifer Lopez movie, the biopic, Selena. And I called my mom immediately. And I was like, "Mom," who is a Mexican woman. And I was like, "Did you know about this? Did you hear? Did you hear about what happened to this lady named Selena?" She was like, "Yeah,
She's
I'm
like,
aware."
I think I know.
But she
Yeah,
was like, "Yeah, I'm familiar with the story."
I think I know. I love that. I know. When they came out with the series on Netflix, I watched it like front to back twice and just like cried. I feel like we all just feel like we know her,
Yeah,
and it's wonderful and sad.
it is. My next pick is Goddess of Filth by V. Castro. This takes place in Texas, and it's following like a handful of teen girls like on the night before graduation, and they're playing a game. Um, I don't even remember if it's like a Ouija board or something like spooky in that
Ooh,
way, but like one of the girls, so it's not even the narrator. One of the other girls is like this very promising, like valedictorian, like really studious type girl. And something happens to her and she gets possessed in the middle of this game and starts like not acting like herself.
ooh,
And it takes a real like Jennifer's body
hell
esque
yeah!
turn where you're like really cheering for this like now possessed like monstrous girl who is
I
like
love that.
yes. Um, and I wanted to recommend that with V. Castro's other book, The Queen of Cicadas, which was about a
Ooh,
migrant worker who was murdered. And that's kind of very like Candyman esque. Like she was
ooh,
murdered and she is like coming back for revenge. And I just feel like V.
hell,
Castro, people talk about how her stories are very erotic, and they are. But I think if there's something she does well, it is like rage. It is like generational, like I have been wronged, like feminine
mm-hmm.
rage.
Heck yeah, we can all relate.
Yeah. So I wanted to recommend those two, Goddess of Filth by V. Castro and The Queen of Cicadas
Heck yeah.
by V. Castro.
Also, great titles.
Yeah.
Like what? Speaking of generational rage, goes right into like my next recommendation, Tiny Threads by Lillian Rivera. It's like a 2024 supernatural suspense about this woman, Samara. She gets her like dream job at this like high powered fashion house, but she doesn't realize that there's this like dark history to it. I If I remember correctly, it was pitched as Devil Wears Prada, but just imagine all brown cast, thank god. So Yeah, it delves into, like, the devastation of, like, these factories poisoning brown communities, which feels all too real, for generations, and just how,
Mm.
like, powerful men evade responsibility, for their predatory actions, which also feels all too real.
Yeah.
Yeah, it reminded me a lot of Augustina's, writing. It just felt like she was, like, touching on something in that way.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, it was really sinister. I read it in one sitting on the train. I was going to Mystic, Connecticut with my wife, and I was reading on the train, and I just felt like I just got like smacked in the face in the best way. I was like, more people need to be speaking about this.
That's on my TBR. I think I have it, like, literally on my Kindle, so
Yeah.
I do need to get to it.
It
Which
is really, really good. The way that Samara begins to just like uncover these like hidden truths, but also like experiencing like these really scary supernatural things while she's like uncovering it, just like it really like gives you chills.
yeah.
I need to see more people talking about this book.
Well, hopefully they will be after this episode.
Truly.
I also wanted to talk about Thirst by
Oh,
Marina Yeshuk. I'll take it
so
you've read this.
yes.
I mean, it's a dual perspective vampire story in Argentina, and you are following a the perspective of a vampire who has been alive for like over a century. And then kind of a modern day woman in Buenos Aires
Mhm.
who her life is in a really rough spot, and she meets up with this vampire and kind of like the effect that they have on each other. But the entire thread of like the vampire story and how she came over and her whole history was absolute insanity and definitely like my favorite part of this book.
Yeah, agreed. One of my old coworkers had like written a shelf talker for it and just wrote, "Oh my god," and it got everybody to get it, and I was like, "Thank God."
I mean, truly. And she's just such a fascinating character because her voice as a character, as she's explaining things, she's very unapologetic and like, yeah, I had to do what survived. Yeah, like I befriended this woman and I lured her to this empty house and I killed her because I have to eat. I'm
Yeah,
like,
I gotta
I
do what I gotta do.
and like if you're expecting me to be like really sorry about it, you're not gonna find that here. And I find that like, everything was just very matter of fact with her. And even in the scene, there's a scene where she, like, kills a priest, and I feel like it's very extra,
Yeah.
everything
And
she does. She's just like, "Yeah, and I did do that.
yeah, she's
Survive."
going balls to the wall, and we love it.
Yeah. And then, yeah, the modern day narrator is, like, a depressed woman. So, it's like a little bit of both.
Oh, man. No, that was a really, really fun one. I was really excited to see that come out. My next one is one that I do see a lot of people talking about, and I'm happy that so many people talk about it. And I think it will go down as like one of my favorites of all time for sure. It's Monstrilio by Gerardo Samano Cordova.
Mhm.
Um, it's and he's a Mexican author. It tells the story of this grieving mother. And spoiler alert, just gonna say that before I keep going, who consumes, or I guess you can not consumes, sorry, she nurtures a piece of her deceased son's lung, um, and that grows into a creature of some sort. And that happens right in like the beginning of the book, and I was just jarred. I was like, oh my god, what am I getting into? Um, this book like has my whole heart. It's just like this beautifully layered like story about grief, and unconditional love, because the parents are so willing to do all these crazy chaotic things for this creature to grow, who they believe is their son now, because right, they took a
Mhm.
piece of their deceased son to form this, and they did this like what they did was kind of just like one of those old wise tales of like, oh, if you do this it will form into something, and it does. It's also undeniably queer. Like you have queer characters like inserted and they don't feel like they just like came out of nowhere. There's no like there's no need for someone to accept them or like
Mhm.
question them. They are just like undeniably like themselves, and it feels so beautifully like natural. And I really love that. Um, it is the one book that when I was a bookseller, everyone in the store had bonded over. And it was so funny to me because like I was one of the few people on staff who like read horror, but this was the one book that everybody loved and
Oh,
everybody was
interesting. I didn't know this was like a crossover hit for the
yeah.
non-horror
It
people.
was, well, or at least like where I was working, and it was interesting to me. And this is a pet peeve of mine is when people say something is literary horror to make them feel better about like enjoying it.
That's the elevated horror of the book world.
Yes, and that's what people kept saying about this, and I'm just like, this is horror. Like, just let it be horror. We don't have to give it this other like sub genre category to like all agree that we love this book. It's just a great horror book.
Yeah.
But yeah, love, 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 and 10 out of 10, like recommend. There's so much tender affection in this book. If you haven't read it, it needs to be on everyone's TBR.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what he comes out with next. I'm like itching.
Yeah. We need something new. My next pick is just kind of Sylvia Moreno Garcia in general. Like, of course, Mexican Gothic is
Yes.
one of my favorites. And I mean, the people talk about it. The people love Mexican Gothic. I also wanted to talk about silver nitrate and talking about, the movie industry in Mexico City
Yes.
and her
Yes.
book Signal to Noise, which I feel like is very underrated. And that's following like teens in Mexico City who discover that they can channel power through music. And I love that Silver Nitrate and Signal to Noise being about like living in Mexico, but also having this like deep connection to the art around you and like how it
Yes.
shapes your life.
Yeah. Yeah. I had listened to Silver Nitrate also and really, really thought it was such a unique like perspective.
Yeah. I still have to read The Bewitching, but it is
And
I have the audiobook on my phone.
we're gonna get to
Is the story of my life where I'm like, I've heard of it, I know it, and it
it.
is in fact, on my bookshelf, on my phone.
I
It is
know.
there.
I always feel so
The
guilty.
intentions are there.
Yes, exactly. I know. I always feel so guilty when I've like had a book for such a long time and now it's actually out and I still haven't gotten to read it yet. I'm just like, ah,
I don't know. It happens.
yeah. But everyone's loving it, so I'm sure we will too.
Yeah.
My next one is The Thing Between Us by Gus Moreno. I cannot believe that I just read this book this year.
Did you
Yes,
really?
yes. It was one that my friend had recommended to me, shout out Teo, and was just like, "You will love this book." And I bought it when I was with them, and it sat on my shelf for like a year and a half. And then I was like, "It's time." I just like kept feeling this gravitational pull to it, and oh my god, the way I love this book! I felt so embarrassed that I waited so long. And I also just feel like I really love grief horror.
Yeah.
Because so this book like it deals with themes of like grief, identity, cultural belonging, which I feel like is something I really relate to also because I grew up as like a no sabo kid,
Oh, yeah.
which I feel like many Puerto Rican kids do. My parents thought they were doing the best thing for me because they can both speak fluent, perfect Spanish or whatever you want to deem as perfect Spanish. They're fluent, and they were just like, "Oh, we want you to like be so proficient in English." And then I grew up and I was like, "Mom, everyone makes fun of me because." I don't know yet, and I had to learn later in life, which sucked, and
How
was
did you
really
do that?
um, through talking with my abuela a lot because my grandma, she really just like she's Spanglish, and
Mhm.
it was really important to me to just like have a proper relationship outside of just like this is my abuela. Like I wanted to know about her and her life and who she was outside of being our abuela. So through a lot of conversation with her, I did take it in high school and in college. Um, and just try our best.
Yeah. Oh, and for listeners who are not aware, a no sabo kid is a child who is raised by Spanish speaking parents, but they themselves do not speak Spanish. And so, like, no sabo is like, I don't
I
know,
don't
but
know.
conjugated incorrectly. So it's
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. There's so
that's
many
the
of
joke.
us. And I feel even more embarrassed because I feel like it especially happens with, like, Puerto Rican kids because there's, like, a lot of Puerto Ricans in New York. It's like so I feel like so many of us grow up that way, and I feel like the natural, like, assumption is like, "Oh, you're Puerto Rican, you don't know how to speak Spanish." And it feels so embarrassing. But, we're here and
Yeah.
we try,
Yeah.
and yeah. But yeah, the thing between us really explores, like, that cultural belonging, um,
Yeah.
and it is insane. There's, like, demonic possession, that just goes so far. But yeah, it's a commentary on, like, migration and identity, and I definitely related to that a lot, and this also goes down as something that I would, like, an all-time favorite for sure.
Yeah, it was so good.
Yeah.
Um,
Just dealing with
I
his, like, wife's death, I was just like, "Oh my god."
even when I flip through it, like when I'm gonna mention it on an episode,
Mhm.
I always flip through it, and that first chapter always has me in tears because it
Right?
opens up at his wife's funeral, and
Oh,
he's like still speaking to her about like
yes.
what's going on at her funeral. Yeah, absolutely gut wrenching, and then it's turned into like cosmic
Yeah.
horror.
It made me realize, like, how much I enjoy cosmic horror. I was like, "This is just, like, such a good way to explore, like, the grief," but also it's just especially with the losing of a partner, I feel like that's something so many of us, think about and just, like, would you be able to get over it? Or if you had the opportunity to do something to bring them back, how far would you go?
Yeah.
So, insane.
Yeah. My next pick might not be horror so much, but it was a book I really enjoyed. It's not on the dock.
Okay.
But it's called Cia Martinez and the Moonlit Beginning of Everything.
Ooh.
It is a YA story about a girl who is living in Arizona, and there are ice raids, and her mom disappeared 3 years ago, and the town, kind of everyone is just talking as if her mom has died. But she's like, "No, like, I know that my mom is out there, like, I have faith." And so she goes out to the desert, and she lights a San Anthony and La Guadalupe
Ooh.
candles to guide her mom back home.
Yeah.
And then a spacecraft
Oh,
appears
oh.
with her mom, very much alive, and it is like a UFO story,
Oh my god,
baby.
I need this. That's insane. That's so cool.
Yeah.
We don't have enough UFO stories.
I know, we don't, and this was I don't know, this was really heartwarming, as like, you gotta do the tropes of like, "Oh, no, like, the government's gonna wanna know where she is," and, like, especially when they find out that she literally just came off of a spaceship, they're really gonna wanna know about her, and we
He's
all have to
better.
work together to, like, hide her, and, like, we can't do this forever, what are we gonna do?
Oh
Like,
my goodness.
but it's also like, "I thought you were gone for 3 years, and, like, you're here, and I was right." It's
Just on a UFO, you know?
yeah.
Oh, okay, I need to read that. My next one is House of Bone and Rain by
Yeah.
Gabino Iglesias. Um, Another Puerto Rican author. It is a supernatural thriller, very much a coming of age story, and it's set in Puerto Rico. And if I'm correct, all of his stories in this current moment in time are set in Puerto Rico. Um, but it follows five teenagers who vow to seek revenge for the murder of one of their mothers as Hurricane Maria approaches. Um, Oh my god. Like, the violence in this book was so jarring, in the best way. Um, it just was such a wild ride with, like, this crew of boys who really made me reminiscent of, like, the friendship group in Stephen King's It,
Mhm.
um, where you're just, like, so invested in each of their stories and you want them to be okay, it this book is definitely not for the faint of heart, but it's also one that everyone should read.
Yeah.
um, and again, just like being Puerto Rican, this felt like really special because it takes place there, but it also has so many references to like the history, the local legends and folklores from there. And also just like the dialogue in this one, he writes in English and in Spanish, which also felt so unique. I don't feel like I've ever seen that, or just like me personally, in a book. And so that felt really cool. And again, the dialogue of like just like Puerto Rican slang was in there, and that was like really cool because I was like, "Ah, I know that."
It is important. And
Yeah.
it is funny even, like, within Latin America, how different everyone's slang
Yes.
is, okay? Like, when Daddy Yankee's, like, Gasolina came out, that's, like, Puerto Rican slang, and we did not know what that meant. Like,
I love it.
my mom
No,
was like, "I don't know what that means."
literally, my wife is Mexican, and we are always debating words because sometimes it's polar opposite, like the like Puerto Rican and Mexican like words, and I'm just like, no, this is what this means. But yeah, I really loved this book. I think the rotating chapters made it like super immersive. Hurricane Maria itself is like a character, and that felt really necessary,
Yeah.
and just like special, and it was super chilling. It's emotional, it's political, and just like a book that we like really needed like as it came out, and it's going to be one that like people need to make a priority.
Yeah, I loved The Devil Takes You Home, and you definitely need to read it.
I
It's so
literally
good.
it
I
is
know
the
I'm
first
adding to your list, but
I no, truly. So it is the first book that I bought when I became a bookseller. Um, so it's been on my shelf for a few years now. But I everyone keeps telling me that I will love this book. And so I know I need to prioritize it before the year is done. And I just got his I think it's like re-released, The Zero Saints. And I'm really
yeah.
excited for that. Yeah.
I haven't read that one. I did read Coyote Songs, which I think he's also
Yeah.
re-releasing.
Yeah. I love all these like short
Yeah.
little guys.
My next pick is Tender as the Flesh by one Agustina Basterica.
Yes, oh my god. Forever on my TBR, that one.
Oh my gosh. You need to tell me when you read this one.
I know.
So this is set in a world where there has been a sickness that has infected all the meat. So now we are living in a world where there are humans that are consumed for meat, but of course they do not get classified as humans. They have like a different categorization. And you are following a main character whose wife has just left him. He's experienced child loss, and he works at one of these like slaughterhouses for meat.
Mhm.
Again, we're talking about people. But it is about how like, oh, because we call them this, because like they don't speak or like they are not educated in the same way. They are to these people just meat. He has vendors that are visiting him, and one of them gifts him, a meat specimen, aka like a human
Oh.
woman.
Oh.
And he breaks the rules by taking her home
Oh,
and
I'm scared.
nurturing a relationship with her.
Oh.
Um and how he, begins to look at the people around him and stuff, and just the way this goes
Oh
is
my god, like, you're making me wanna read this, like, tonight because what? That
yeah,
sounds so unhinged.
it it is, but it's also like it's so normalized. So it's one of those things where in the narrative it's like the stock has been taken in today, like they'll be sent for processing tomorrow.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
the language within this world is very emotionally removed. It's interesting.
Yeah, I that it's crazy because that's the only one by her that I haven't read, but of course own. Um,
That's wild that you've read like The Unworthy
I
and
know.
like
I silly,
and
silly, silly me. But, like, I know I'll love it. I love cannibalism stories.
yeah.
And I feel like cannibalism in the last, like, 2 years is really having a great moment. I'm here for it. Like,
Yeah.
I love
We are living in a high cannibalism moment in horror,
Yes.
and I don't hate it.
No, me neither. Keep it coming, please. Um, my next one is an anthology, Through the
Ooh,
Night Like a Snake. It is Latin American horror stories. So count me in every time.
yeah.
Um, and a goal of mine like last year was to read a lot more translated work. And so with this collection, it was like definitely like one of my most anticipated. And when I was working at the bookstore, we actually got to have the translator and some of the contributing authors like come in for an event, and it felt like insane. But yeah, just like hearing how work is like translated was also very cool.
Mhm.
But basically, some of the stories, a taste of what folks can expect when they like dive into this collection if they haven't already. There's Kermit the Frog Dreams of Murder, which I really liked that one. A leaked sex tape pushes a woman to the brink. A boy explores an abandoned house of a dead fascist. A sex worker discovers the nuns of Pampas. I might be mispronouncing that, but they have a dark secret. And the mountain fog is not what it seems. And there's stories that feature Monica Ojeda, Mariana Enriquez, Claudia Hernandez, like authors that we're like all already fans of, and then
Mhm.
some that might not be on people's radar, which is exciting. But
Ooh.
like every single story was freaking awesome and like super creepy and just like left you wanting more. Where you're like, can you please make this into like a full size novella for me, please?
Yeah.
Also, just like the press that puts this out is Two Lines Press. It's a smaller press that just like has a lot of freaking heart. Like every collection that they put, if I'm correct, it's called like the Calico series, like these like anthologies that they put out, and all of them are really really cool. Let me just, I want to confirm that because they're just like really cool. The packaging is really cool. Yeah, it's called the Calico series from Two Lines Press, and just like the packaging of it is great. It's always like focused on a really specific theme. Yeah, and so I'm big fan. If you haven't read anything from Two Lines Pressed, highly recommend.
Ooh. That sounds incredible.
Yeah, I love a small press. They just put out such quality work.
Yeah. Um, I wanted to shout out to non-horror books, but books that are very close to my heart.
Yeah.
I felt like I had to mention Like Water for Chocolate
Oh yeah. Oh my god.
by Laura Esquivel. Listen, this is like one of the like premier Mexican stories. This
Yeah.
is about a woman who has the power to transfer her emotions into the food that she makes. And this is set, I want to say, in like the early
Mhm.
20th century
Yeah.
Mexico. She is the youngest daughter. And so her mother, who is a single mother, has decided that like her lot in life is to take care of her mother. And she like grows up, as she's growing up, she falls in love with a local boy and he wants to marry her, but her mom's like, "Oh no, this one is going to be my caretaker. You can marry her older sister." And he does.
Just
Okay, he does. And his reasoning for this is like this is the only way he can remain close to her. Like he loves her so much that like he'll take this scrap of a relationship just to be near her, whatever. But like she's in charge of making like the wedding cake for the banquet and she's like distraught. And so everyone is eating this wedding cake in tears. Like it's like magical realism like that. Like
I love that. I love when it leaks into like some power.
mhm.
Oh god. Especially the food angle. Like that's so fun and like also not very like commonly done.
Yeah. I love that. Also want to mention another one of my all-time favorites, How the Garcia Girls Lost Their Accent
Oh my
by
god, I love that. Yeah.
Julia Alvarez.
Yep.
This is
Same.
following 5 sisters, I believe, 4 or
Yep.
5 from the Dominican Republic. They are in New York in 1960, and the stories are told in shifting perspectives in reverse chronological order. So you are starting like 1960 and then like moving back to like each of the sisters as they are like acclimating in New York, but as you keep going further, you get back to like where they were in the Dominican Republic and what was going on and why they had to leave. And she did write like a spin-off book called Yo, which is following one of my favorite characters, Yolanda, my favorite of the Garcia sisters. So I was excited about that.
I love it.
Um,
That feels like it needs to be required reading.
it does. I'm like, so these are like, if you haven't read these yet, these are kind of like the
Yeah.
required reading of
Start
like
here. And
Latin American like gen fic, you
yes,
know?
it's like that and anything like Sandra Cisneros, like,
Mhm.
you
Yeah,
must.
the house on
Mango
Mango
Street.
Street or Caramelo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you must. You can't sit until you do.
We are
And
your professors. We are assigning this. We will be expecting book reports in our inboxes. Thank
Yep,
you.
yep. Please and thank you. Okay, my last one that I have is a newer release, and it's Myra by Nikki Gonzalez. It is her debut horror novel, and it literally just came out like in July, and it is like a modern gothic atmosphere, toxic friendship, and we all have those. That is also one of my favorite like tropes, like situations. We've all had those like all consuming friendships that we know we just like need to cut, but we just can't, right? Like we have that like codependency situation and just like we can't. And this explores that really well. It also gave me serious like haunting of Hill House vibes. Like it was super unsettling. This house like disorients them. So the main character goes to visit her friend who she hasn't heard from in quite some time, and then randomly gets a phone call and she's like, oh, I'm gonna stay in this house. I'd love if you can like meet me over here. And as we all know, you give in even though you know you shouldn't. And I also want to shout out like there's this description. Now I've been to Florida a bunch of times because it's set in Florida, but I've never passed through like Alligator Alley. And there's this beautiful description of it that made me want to go so bad. It just sounds so swampy and insane. But this house is like super secluded, and when she goes, they kind of pick up like where they left off, but then things start to change because her friend is not staying by herself, she's staying with her partner, and this house is like has been passed down to him, and he doesn't want to like let the friend do anything. Ingrid is her name.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to let like Ingrid do anything. He's like, oh, I'll get that. Like, so she's not able to like leave the house, and that continues to mess with like just her faculties. And there's also, she finds this, if I remember correctly, it's like a journal or something that she finds, and there's these entries from someone who has stood in the house, and you get those interspersed between the regular chapters, and it just builds this really really creepy situation of like, oh my god, something really messed up has happened, and is it going to happen to Ingrid and Myra? um yeah, it is really 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 good. I love
I I recently read this and yeah, I really liked it. Agree. Toxic friendship is one of my favorite
it.
horror tropes. Um, and I also thought it was interesting because yeah, we're in Ingrid's POV
Hmm.
and Maida was first of all like the bad influence growing up, like the one her mom was like, I don't want you hanging out
Oh
with
my god,
Maida so
yes.
much. She comes from like a troubled home. Like her mom doesn't even care where she's at.
No.
But Maida got into an Ivy League school, so she's also, like, the one who got out, and she kind of feels this weird, like, "You look down on me," and there's, like, a weird sense of, like, an imbalance, even though Ingrid is like, "I'm doing fine for myself, like, I'm a real estate agent, like, you
Yeah,
don't need
she's
to
very
talk
good.
to me this way," you
Yeah.
know? So it's a very interesting dynamic between them, which is, like, the levels of toxicity and, like
I love. Just 10 out of 10. Again, like happy that all of these like new emerging authors are coming.
mhm. And we talked about because we mentioned our TBRs are just like never ending. Why not mention like books we are planning on getting to, if not this like Hispanic Heritage Month, then at least by the end of the year, hopefully.
Yes.
Um, Mine are pretty short, so I'm hoping that that'll happen. But I would like to get to Mariana Enriquez's nonfiction book, Somebody is Walking on Your
Hey,
Grave.
beautiful cover.
It's a beautiful cover, of course, and it's kind of like a memoir travelogue as she visits different cemeteries and is like talking about personal stuff that is like going on in her life, like intertwined with like visiting these cemeteries, which
Yeah.
I'm into. Um, Jawbone by Monica Ojeda has been on my TBR for
Mhm.
ages, and I
Mhm.
just saw that it got some type of like film
Oh my
deal.
god. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I do need to read that.
Yeah.
You made me pick up Feeble Minded at Twisted Spine, and that is on my list. And that seems very short, but it's like a dark mother-daughter story from like what I'm gathering in the back.
Yeah.
Kind of surreal, possibly. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Yes, yes,
It
yes.
seems good. Like the cover is like the picture of a brain.
Yeah.
So,
It's gonna be
um,
great.
short story collection I picked up at Barnes and Noble is called "You Glow in the Dark" by Liliana Colanzi, which is Bolivian,
Love, oh god, love.
and it says it's like seven stories. It's like 110 pages. So it's seven stories, but it says there's like Andean cyberpunk in here, which I'm
Ooh,
very
okay.
interested to dig into.
Yes.
Um, I also finally want to get to Loteria by Cynthia Pelayo.
Yes. No, same, same. We have a lot of shared
Yeah,
fun, for
a lot of
sure.
shared TBR.
Yeah. I love that it was just, like, re-released. The cover is also really, really great.
Yeah, I think the one I own is the cover before this one,
Okay,
the
okay.
previous version of it. But yeah, this is like 54 kind of, I don't know if they're like flash fiction, but they're like shorter than
Yeah.
short stories, I guess.
Yeah, they're pretty short. Definitely
But
pretty
Loteria is a Mexican game. It's essentially like bingo.
yes.
Um,
El
but
borracho.
yeah, but yeah, so it's like each of the cards is a story. So you have like El Borracho, the drunk, La Sirena, the mermaid.
I love it. We always
Some
play it with my wife's dad.
listen, we love a game of Loteria.
Yeah.
um and then another one I've had on my shelf forever is Five Midnights,
Yes.
Puerto Rican, by Ana Davila Cardinal, which is about like five teens in Puerto Rico, I believe trying to survive during a hurricane, and there's like supernatural stuff going on.
Love.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of that. I know. The never ending TBR. Mine is also like just so long, but we're gonna give a few. We've established that Tender is the Flesh is on my TBR. I've had that on my shelf for way too long, and after hearing Steph talk about it, I like feel re-energized to pick it up because it's just I've just been staring at it, and now I need to get to it. We love cannibalism. Um, the other one is Our Share of Nights by
Mhm.
Mariana Enriquez, and she's thick, but
Yeah.
we're
She has
gonna go
good
after.
girl.
Yeah. I just like another one that I've just like stared at for way too long and know I would love the second I got into it. So that, and then because I love small presses, I'm gonna give say anything from Charco Press. It's another small press who puts out a lot of Hispanic writers. Um, and it's all translated work. And they're putting out banger after banger. I mean, the last one that I read by them was Elena Knows, and it was just so damn good. And just from that one alone, I knew I would like love everything else that they put out. So anything from Charcoal Press, I just like I need to consume.
Oh, you I picked up another Charcoal Press title because of you, and I can't think of what it
Oh
is
my
right now.
god, yeah, wait, which one was it? It might have been that one.
Yeah, it might have been.
Probably that one. It's a yellow cover. um, but yeah, no. I mean, we're all gonna
We'll see.
um,
I will have for the translated works, I will have the translator listed in the show notes. Apologies. I was just looking at my doc. I'm like, oh, I didn't list the translator for a lot of these. And I know I have had people email and say they appreciate that I named the
oh,
translator. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry I
that's
let you down
awesome.
this time. But they will be noted on
Yeah.
the show notes. Apologies.
That is awesome.
But we have a tradition on the show, Tiffany, to ask our guests for a chilling obsession. So, what is something you have been enjoying lately?
Oof. Okay. I recently, or not, I guess recently, but just like it's kind of an always obsession, but I have moments where I'm like really, really locked in and then I let it go for a little bit. And maybe not so, well, yes, chilling in like a real life way, I would say. Um, Law and Order SVU.
We love it. Okay.
Dun, dun. Um, I it's one of my comfort shows, but I like watch it in these like moments where I'll just like watch an episode every single day for like 2 weeks straight, and then I'll step away from it for like 2 months. and then get back into it. And it's something that I like grew up watching like with my dad. Like we'd wake up early and just like eat some cereal and watch it. But I don't know, it's just like watching Benson and Stabler, solve these like real life horror situations just brings me peace. As like messed up as a lot of the situations that they're thrown into are. Um, but yeah, that's something that I'm in the thick of it again right now, rewatching it. And just I can't get enough. And that theme song, I always have to sing it when it comes on. Oh, and if anyone who's listening is in New York, October 4th and 5th by Rock Center, they're gonna do a Law and Order SVU pop up where they'll have like themed treats and merch. You can bet my ass is gonna be there.
Listen, I understand the, like, soothing nature of watching, like, justice be served or having,
Right?
like, narratives tied up and,
Yeah,
like, bad people punished for crimes.
yeah.
I
I'm just like,
understand.
oh, thank God they're on the scene. One of my like life aspirations is to meet Mariska Haggerty. I'm just like, I don't know what I would say, but I'd just be like, thank you.
Thank you for all that you do.
Yeah.
Um, my, group chat project group chat, we're, like, always doing projects, but
Yeah.
we're doing those, like, cult Criterion films, and we
Yeah.
recently watched Eyes Without a Face from a
Ooh.
1960, which I had never watched before, and I really liked it. It's
Okay.
a French movie about, seeing like, it opens up with, like, somebody dumping a body and then, like, a grieving father go and
Mm.
identify his daughter in the morgue, and you discover that I don't know if this is like really a spoiler, but that he was in a car accident and his daughter like essentially lost her face, like her face was ruined.
Ooh.
And so he has been kidnapping women that look like his daughter in an attempt, he's a surgeon, to
Ooh.
do a skin transfer.
Oh my God. Wait, I need to watch this. Um, but also like now you saying French like film, it just unlocked a film that I watched like a month ago. That's like horror crime. And it's also French. It is called Red Rooms. Have you seen this?
Yes.
Okay, I have just seen this. I just watched this last month. That was insane. And for those who haven't seen it, it's this woman who, logs onto these like back channel rooms in the hopes of solving this case. And she goes as far as to like go to the trial of the case, like dressed up, and as it just gets real unsettling really quick.
Yeah.
Um,
I
just
I really like stories that dig into the, like, ethics of true crime and,
me
like, how
too.
far people
Yes.
go and, like, because she even has, like, a groupie friend, that
Yes.
she makes, 'cause I think it's in Canada, right? Like, I don't know
Yes,
if
it's in
it's
Canada.
Quebec or
Yeah.
not,
Mhm.
but yeah, like, a groupie friend who is like, "I'm so convinced that this guy is innocent," and, like, they kind of bond over this, but you can tell
Yes.
that, like, she's kind of, like, not fully like, she almost, like, doesn't care if
Yeah.
he's innocent, and then, like, as you watch it, you find out more.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was really good. And
Just
it's not gory. I would say the horror is, like, the
yes,
depravity, the,
for
like,
sure.
but great chilling obsessions. But it's time for our second tradition, which is Tiffany, what is your final girl song?
I've been thinking about this a lot. I love this question. I love seeing everyone's together. Um, but after some thought, mine is "Running Up That Hill" by Kate Bush. I just every time I listen to that song, I'm just like, I could see myself frolicking, just like with blood splatter on me after just escaping. you know, I just really
Yeah.
see that for me.
I mean, it worked for Sadie Sink in the Upside Down, you know, or,
Exactly.
like, wherever she was. I didn't watch that season, but
Yeah.
my son did.
Oh god.
But you know what? That helped her channel and
Yeah, it got
escape,
her
whatever.
yeah, it got her where she
It
needed.
was her final girl song.
Exactly, and now I'm taking it as mine.
It has been it's proven effective once, so
Exactly. We know it's
why
gonna
not
work.
again? Well, Tiffany, thank you so much for coming on here and chatting Latina, Hispanic horror with me. We need to watch more horror films that
Yes,
fall into this. Like, I've
yes.
definitely watched a few, but listeners, I'm open to suggestions. Like,
Yeah, please.
I love Terrified. I loved When Evil Lurks. Okay,
Mhm, mhm.
I love La Llorona, the
Yes,
Guatemalan one,
yes,
not the Conjuring universe one.
yes.
Um,
Very important to note. Yeah, please give us more recs. We were just talking about how we want to watch more, so all the recs would be very much appreciated. And thank you so much for having me. I was so excited to talk about all these wonderful books.
Yay, thank you. Books in the Freezer is a bi-weekly podcast. We post episodes every other Tuesday. You can find us on Threads, Blue Sky, Instagram, TikTok at Books in the Freezer, or send us an email at booksinthefreezer@gmail.com. If you are looking for a way to support the podcast, you can do so on Patreon at patreon.com/booksinthefreezer. It is a fun community over there. You get access to a lot of different perks like early episode releases and even bonus episodes at the Malevolent Spirit level. We just started the House at the End of Fear Street series, where I and a guest are reading through the Fear Street series, and it's been real unhinged fun over there. You're going to want that. And if you are looking for a free way to support the podcast, please share, post on social media, or leave a rating on an app like Apple Podcasts or Spotify. That helps podcasts get visibility. So thank you to all of you who have taken the time to do that. I have been your host, Stephanie Gagne. Thank you so much for listening, and see you next time on Books in the Freezer.